Guys, I'm donating a Holley 6.86 Pro Dash to someone. And the someone is either going to be one of my Patreon subscribers or someone that buys a piece of merch off of rrutvshop.com. Head on over to rrutvshop.com or my Patreon. Links to those things are below in the description. And pick something up. Get entered into a chance to get that Pro Dash. It's a super nice piece. I just updated the Crown Rick to a 12-inch dash, so I figured what better way to move that thing down the road than to donate it to someone who contributes to this channel. So, rrutvshop.com, pick up some merch, or head on over to Patreon. $5 or above tier gets you entered into a shot at getting that Pro Dash. Or if you sign up for the $20 tier, you get entered into a shot, and I'm just going to send you a free piece of merch of your choice too. So, check that stuff out. Now, let's get on to working on the Crown Rick and making this thing sweet and ready to drag race here in a couple weeks. Well, it's a rare occasion out here in the Richard Rules garage. One I haven't experienced in what feels like months, because it's been months. So most of what I've been doing recently over the past couple months includes fixing stuff that I've broke, which is super common occurrence for me. But today is special because we're finally getting some upgraded parts that we get to install. We get to install them in the Crown Rick. So if you guys remember last November, we took the Crown Rick down to Cletus and Cars, did some drag racing with it, or we tried to, and traction was a severe problem for us. So the factory Trac-Lok differential, the positive traction unit in that thing, blown out. I think that car has about 200,000 miles on the chassis, and the clutches in that Trac-Lok are, well, not the best, hence the one tire fire we were getting in that thing when we were trying to do a burnout with it in the water box. So today we're going to be, or I shouldn't say today we're going to be disassembling some stuff. Tomorrow we're going to be going together with it, but we're putting a Detroit True Trac in the Crown Rick. And a Detroit True Trac is going to replace that factory Trac-Lok in the 8.8 differential that's in the Crown Rick with a helical style gear set that is much better than that factory piece. So I'll go over to our table, I'll show you that unit, and then I'll get the Crown Rick pulled in here. So a lot of locking differentials or positive tractions, posies, whatever you want to call them, use clutches inside the carrier, which is this whole assembly. This, however, is a completely mechanical piece that uses helical gears, which you can, well, lighting isn't the best. See if I can find a flashlight. You can kind of see in there, there's no clutches, just some big dog helical gears. So this uses torque biasing, so this will transfer power from the wheel that's spinning the most to the other one and provide, well, traction to both of them. So this is a pretty nice piece. I've rode in vehicles with this style unit, rode in a lot of them on the street. They operate super smooth. They're not clunky. You don't need to run any sort of special additives and stuff like this. In fact, you want to just run a mineral 80W90 gear oil in this, no synthetics, because that synthetic and additives can kind of throw off the torque biasing, making it think that it has more slip than it doesn't. So just regular 80W90 is what we're going to throw in this. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, this is just a super simple piece that's going to help us put down some good times in the Crown Rick. I've had that unit for a couple months now, just really haven't had time to throw it in, but we've got a race coming up that I do want to take the Crown Rick to. It's just a test and tune, but we're getting to a point in the year where the air is going to be a lot better than it was over the summer, and I'm hoping to put a good time down with the Crown Rick. So in addition to that, I have one other kind of nice piece that we're going to be putting on the Crown Rick as well. So the Crown Rick's kind of a rot buggy, and the differential cover is no exception. So I've got this nice Mosier stud girdle cover. So this is a thick aluminum piece that is much more beefier than the factory stamped steel piece. In addition, it has these these studs that press against the carrier bearing caps inside the differential, and that's supposed to provide some added strength. I've never had a 4th gen F-body Camaro Firebird Trans Am. You got a 7.5 in that thing. You know all about those things. I had one myself, so I just wanted to add that while we're there. The one on there is rotted out pretty good, so good time to upgrade that as well. So let's go find the Crown Rick, see if she'll start up. It's been probably 3 weeks since I fired this unit up, so we'll see how reliable this unit actually is. It's going to treat us good tonight. If it wants some upgraded parts, we'll see. Oh yeah, there's the Crown Rick. I missed you. let's take a look inside this thing and see if she'll fire up. You guys probably haven't seen the video for that thing yet. Maybe you have. Who knows? What a great machine this thing is. 3 weeks sitting. Fire right up. Look at this hog. Hear it. It's the best car. Let's get this thing pulled inside. So the crown rick's going up in the air. One other thing I forgot is since I've owned this car, I've dealt with some bunk rear wheel studs on this thing. So my local Bay City AutoZone got me hooked up with some fresh wheel studs, some fresh lug nuts for it. By messed up or bunk, I mean stripped out because I had to, well, basically cut the wheels off of this thing in the back because they're a special keyed lug nut, and I didn't have that kind of socket, so I just, took a freaking cut-off wheel to them. And anyways, nittos are looking good on this thing. Here's that rot buggy cover I was talking about. I've seen worse. I've seen better. It's going to look clean with that girdle on there. What a nice piece. We got to get these wheels off first, though. The brakes off because we got to pull the axles out. Let's get disassembling on this thing. Okay, as usual, spoke too soon. Jinxed myself, whatever you want to say. But the crown rick is going to need some brakes. So this is the pad from inside, on the inside of the driver's side. She's it's kind of split right there. It's kind of coming apart on there. Probably not the best, so the rotors are also severely chewed up on that side. I knew we had an axle seal leak because I've had this wheel off before, so I bought new axle seals. So I've got to address that over on this side. You probably can't see, but it's leaking pretty good. Contaminated the pads on this side, so probably just pony up, get some new local Bay City AutoZone brakes for this unit. Not a big deal. Probably deserves them. You do too. Maybe I do. I don't know. But we're making some progress, so now I got to get that rear diff cover off. The odor of this fluid, I can smell it already just inside my nostrils. I actually haven't smelled it. Maybe I did smell it because that axle seal is leaking, like I said. I don't really know. But I got to get this cover off, so we're going to lift this thing up a little bit higher. Pop that unit off. Get our axles out. Pop our caps off for our bearings, and then factory unit can come out. No big deal. All right, we've got basically all of our lower bolts out. Kept a couple uppers in so I can drain this thing. This gray RTV here is kind of indicative that someone's been in this before, so maybe it's not going to be as nasty as I think, but it probably will be actually. So give it a little pry here. I might need to honestly go in with the hammer on this because that RTV is aggressive. All right, stand by. I'm going in with the hammer. Okay, not shocking. The oil is gross. There's metal particulates in it, and it stinks. Already kind of made a mess. Also not shocking. Also, it's going to run down my screwdriver and make a mess. That's nasty, dude. That's bad stuff. Get these 3 other bolts out and get that cover off. That's nasty. So I've got the center pin out. I've got the spiders out. I just need to get this Trac-Lok mechanism thing out. And then we're in good shape. It stinks. It stinks like bad whiskey. It's very weird. It makes me want to throw up, honestly, how bad this oil smells. So that's super gross. Hopefully I'll have this thing out of here very shortly. And I can quit smelling this. All right, it's the next day. And the S-spring in this thing fought me so much. So I spent probably an hour trying to get that thing out of there. You couldn't remove the C-clips, seemingly without taking the S-spring out. And the S-spring wouldn't come out without the C-clips being gone. So I just fought that for an hour. Tried to squeeze that spring together with some vice grips. Pair shot off and hit me in the face. I was bleeding. So I just torched it out of there. Yeah, just cut it out with a torch. So we got everything out of here. It still stinks. I still need to clean this up. I'm going to do that now. I got my friend Jim's High Performance coming over. He's going to help me get the bearings pressed on to this new center section, the True Trac. And he's going to help me get the ring gear on there. Going to check the backlash, and then we should be good. I think I'm going to end up putting wheel bearings on the, or axle bearings on this thing. They're kind of wore out, so we'll see how it goes. We got the housing cleaned up. It's looking minty. Gasket surface, very clean. We've got the True Trac over here. Got the ring gear bolted onto it. New bearings pressed on. You know the deal. It's all set up. We're waiting for Jim's High Performance to show up. We're just at his place. Throw this thing in, set the backlash, then we're good. Gonna have to change the axle bearings on this, though. That won't be a huge deal. Ugh, that's nasty stuff. That's nasty stuff. She's gonna be nice when she's done, though. Nice-ish. All right, we got the new True Trac in. Got the caps on. We need to torque these down 80 foot-pounds. We're reusing the shims that came out of here just to see if we get lucky, and our backlash is where it needs to be. So I gotta go grab a torque wrench, tighten those down, and then we'll measure it. All right, things are moving along here. I've got our axle shafts over here. Got new studs pressed in. Those went in super easy, so happy about that. We ended up with 8 thousandths backlash on this ring and pinion here. Take a look. True Trac's in there all nice. So if you head on over here, you'll see got all this cleaned up in here for the new wheel bearing. Old bearing's out. Used a, I don't know where my slide hammer tool, or it's actually Jim's High Performance slide hammer tool, wherever that went. But it got those wheel bearings out, no problem. All cleaned up here, ran some sandpaper in there. Got her shining, ready for that new bearing. Over here, I've already completed that task. New wheel bearings in, new seal. Axle's ready to go on this side. Just got to head back over there, pound that new bearing in. I put those in the freezer. New bearing went in super easy on that side. Seal went in great. Hopefully, same thing happens over here. Then the axles can go in, and we can start going back together. Okay, we are looking good. The axles are in. We've got our center pin in the True Trac, snap rings in. All that happy stuff is good to go. So, did have to take the wheel speed sensors out because they were preventing the axle from going in enough to get our C-clips on. Not a huge deal there. So, I'll just tie these out of the way and basically ready to put the cover on this thing and put some fluid in it. We'll let the, I'm going to use a gasket and RTV on this, so we'll let the gasket or RTV tack up a little bit before putting a final torque on the cover. I'll show you guys that in a little bit, but things are going good for this thing. I like it. Excited to get it on the road and try this unit out. The crown rick is in good shape. Look at this thing, that cover. Oh, I love that. That's a freaking nice piece. I also got our parking brake cables to integrate up there. Turned out pretty decent, even though only one side has parking brake cable on it, so it probably doesn't even work. Anyways, it looks good. So I'm going to let this down a little bit. I'm going to run it in the air, make sure there's no funky noises or anything like that, and we'll get it off of here. Take it for a quick little rip. This thing, I just can't. I can't get over how good of a unit this thing is. It's the best car. Pump these brakes up first, I should. Okay. Brakes are feeling good. Take a look. Oh yeah. We'll raise her up, we'll see how it sounds, make sure it's okay. No funny noises? it's no funny business. I think we're good. Listen to that. Barely hear this thing run. I love it. Well, I got the Crown Rick outside, so I'm gonna head to the fuel station, get some E85 in this thing, and then while I'm doing that, I'll show you guys how that install went for that Pro Dash. So take a look. It turned out really good. We'll see more of it later, but here's how we got it in there. Apologies for the wind in advance. I'm in one of my favorite spots, the driver's seat of the Crown Rick. And this thing, as you know, is equipped with the best Holley parts on it. It's got Terminator X. It's got a Holley fuel pump module in it, dual 450s, a bunch of Holley stuff. Also has a Holley 6.86 Pro Dash in it. And there's basically only one way to get better than that, the 12-inch Pro Dash. So I kind of hinted that earlier in another video, but I've got this Holley 12-inch Pro Dash that's ready to go in this thing. So the 6.86 is a very nice piece. However, in a situation like this, you could definitely benefit from seeing a little bit more. So here's what the 6.86 looks like. Again, it gives you all the good parameters and stuff. Let me power this thing right up so you can kind of see what we're dealing with here. I think if I had it mounted on the column, I would like it a lot better, but when you're this far back, being able to have a little bit bigger display would be beneficial. So I got all the parameters laid out. I did a video on that before. So I got this custom bezel from Car Chains 3D. Unfortunately, we don't have a new bezel for the new Pro Dash, which I got that thing pulled out. This thing's a monster. So you can kind of see it's gonna fill up most of the cavity for the gauge cluster, or where the gauge cluster would be from the factory. The only difficult part for this should be actually building some sort of bracketry or mount to mount this in that location. So again, we had this 3D printed one. We don't have that now for this 12-inch dash. So I got to get this 6.86 out of here. I've already went ahead and taken a picture of some of the custom parameters I've set up in this. So I've got the speedometer through GPS. So I've got the transmission temp sensor, and I've got the fuel level set up as inputs direct to the dash. So I went ahead and took a picture of those in the IO screen, so I know how to set them up in the new dash, but everything else should be pretty straightforward. This should be plug and play for the most part. To get it working, like I said, just going to be kind of intricate to get a little bit of a mount set up. So I need to get this out, 6.86. Sorry about the beeps. I'm gonna get that disconnected and we'll see how this looks in there. So I've got the new dash kind of just laying in here. You can kind of see how it's gonna lay out, and it fills up that space so good. So I've only got 3 mounting points on this because the 4th one kind of disappeared. It held that 6.86 no problem. So basically you have to just make 3 little tabs on the back of the dash. There are spots for screws to go in. There's it looks like 6 of them. So 2 on the sides, or 4 total on the sides and 2 in the middle. Not going to worry about the middle ones, so I'm just going to need to make 3 little brackets out of some tin, drill those to accept the holes that are in the car, and then also drill them to accept the holes in the dash. So I'm going to go searching for some tin, and then we'll get some holes drilled. But I've got it plugged in right now. Let me find the key real quick here. What a sweet piece. That looks so good. Obviously, I got to get it configured for the additional parameters I want it to display, but man, that looks so good. So let me go find that metal and some tin snips, and I'll get some pieces cut up. All right, it's a couple days later. My idea for the tabs didn't work out. We came up with a way better solution. So my dad helped me out with this a lot, so big thanks to him. We came in and made our own mounting brackets for the top and the bottom of this gauge cluster. And we faced some difficulties because, you know, Crown Rick, it's a seasoned unit. It had some broken stuff behind the dash. So as you can see here, this factory mounting point is no longer really a mounting point. This one here still works good, but we had some separation there. So drilled a little bit of a hole there. Probably going to need to elongate that a little bit. And then this bracket system we came up with. So it's going to utilize 3 of the factory mounting holes, 2 there, bolts to the dash in the back, and then this one comes down on the side, has a nut welded on the inside of it, and we'll just come through there with a bolt through that plastic, and it should turn out really good. So I need to do a little bit of tweaking on some of these holes just to get everything fitted and lined up perfect, but we're on the right path. We should be wrapped up with this here pretty soon. I'm excited to see what this is going to look like. Man, it is hot. But the freaking juice was worth the freaking squeeze on this one. So did some trimming, used a band file to trim some of this plastic down, just like sandpaper. Works super good to get us the necessary clearance we need on this thing. Check this out. It looks incredible. Man, look at that. So this piece was broke right here, so I just figured I'd get rid of it. That way we can see that sweet Holley EFI logo. And I've still got the protective film on here, so I need to peel that off. But take a look at how this layout is. That is so nice. Oh my gosh. I'm in love. So I've got to configure some more stuff on here. Parameters like fuel level, trans temp, all that happy stuff. But man, that looks so good in there. I am pumped with how this turned out. I got to get that protective film off, and then I'll put the rest of this dash together, and we're going to be in freaking business. Well, the True Trac in this thing is super nice so far. It's very smooth. The ring and pinion's quiet. Not much to dislike about it. The price was reasonable. So again, we didn't really go through an entire rear end rebuild in this thing. It was just a matter of swapping out the carrier, setting the backlash. I put new bearings in for the axles. I like it. I'm a big fan so far. So time will tell how it works once we head to the drag strip here in the next couple weeks. But I got to show you guys this Holley dash. I've been driving around this. I've been driving around with this thing for a while. Big fan of it. It completely changes the driving experience of this car. Take a look. I love the 686, but the way this 12-inch just fills up the whole dash, all these parameters in this layout, huge fan of this thing. This looks so good. Big fan. Good job, Holley. This thing is sweet. I think it's time we get on this unit. Be a good angle or not, but this thing just flew off the car, so that was cool. Glad I at least found it, but it's super annoying to lose it. Oh, it's just my luck. This is the same GoPro that I thought I lost in the lake last year. This thing tries to get away, but can't. Just trying to show you guys the marks that this was hopefully going to leave, but getting dark, so not sure if that'll work or not. It's not going to work because this thing's not going outside, because I don't really want to look for it in the night, you know what I mean? It's just the way it is. Okay, we're going about 50. Something else. Now that we got a good rear end in this unit, I'm excited to see what it'll do at the track. Hopefully it's a beast. It feels fast. It feels legitimately fast. Which is all about perspective, of course, but it feels fast. Well, another day, another successful Crown Rick project done, too, if we're being scientific here. So we're going to take that unit drag racing here in a couple weeks. Hopefully it puts down some good times. I'm excited for it. It's got the right equipment this time around. It's been ironed out even more, and it's going to be a good unit. I can feel that. So appreciate your guys' support in this matter, and don't forget about the 6.86 Holley Pro Dash donation that I'm doing. So buy some RR merch. Head on over to the Patreon. Sign up for that. Again, you buy any piece of merch, it's going to enter you into this. You sign up for a tier, $5 or more on Rich Rules Patreon, you're going to get entered. And if you sign up for the $20 tier, I'm going to send you a free piece of merch and you get entered. So that's a super good deal. Keep that in mind. Head on over there, sign up for it. And again, appreciate your guys supporting this matter. I got a lot of other projects lined up that need to get done and stuff that I'm looking forward to doing. Some side-by-side stuff, some car stuff, some truck stuff. We got a good variety coming up. So appreciate your guys supporting this matter. We'll see you in a couple days.